Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle. I've got a really exciting episode for you guys here. This is a regular thing I plan to do every about 4 months or so, is do a vinyl haul video where I talk about all the vinyls that I have bought over the past 4 months. So it should be a segment that happens about 3 times a year, documenting all the vinyl that I've gotten. This episode is especially large. This is more than you'll usually see because I don't tend to spend tons of money on vinyl, but I went a little bit crazy during this period because I've been really excited about music as a product of starting this channel. This channel's really reignited my love of music, my love of collecting, and so I've really picked up tons of vinyl for the purposes of showing it in different places on my channel. So a lot of in a funny way, this vinyl haul video is going to be largely a retrospective of a lot of the videos I've done, because a lot of these vinyl records that I had purchased I've shown on the show already in some form. I've done an album review of it, or I did some kind of feature, and so if you've seen a lot of my videos, you'll recognize a lot of these. So nothing totally out of the blue here. This should be all pretty well expected things, but it's a lot. I have about 44 vinyl records to cover here. And so I'm going to go through them really quickly, especially the ones that I've already covered on the channel. I'm going to kind of direct you towards my reviews where I maybe look through the vinyl a little bit more on those videos. So I don't want this video to be like 2 hours long, so I'm going to try to go through quickly. But I like the idea of cataloging all of the new vinyl that I've received. So usually I would guess it'd be more close to like a dozen records or so, but this is a huge haul, and I really want to get into, especially towards the end, the records that I acquired on my birthday trip to Amoeba Records. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So without further ado, I've talked already too long as a preamble, so let's get into all of these records that I have. So first, I talked about this already, did an album review. This is Greta Van Fleet and their album, The Battle at Garden's Gate. I really love this album, and please check out my review. I know a lot of people don't really love Greta Van Fleet because of their really close sound to Led Zeppelin, but I really love this album. I think they're coming more into their own, so please check out my review of that. It's a really great record. Just a little bit of a peek at the inner side because it's a cool thing there. So there you go, Greta Van Fleet. Another album that I talked about in a review way back in May. This is Big Big Trains, The Underfall Yard, the big reissue version. This is a great package with 3 different LPs in here. It's what they call Cherry Cola Red, I believe, and it has the album remakes as well as some additional tracks at the end. So definitely recommended. I've been talking tons about Big Big Train. This is an incredible one, so check that one out. I did a short record store thing. I did a short stop at Penny Lane Records, which is in Upland, California, and I picked up a couple records there. So these are from that little trip. The first is Led Zeppelin's 4, which I covered also on the channel. A great classic rock album. Then I picked up Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, a classic. A lot of these are planned for upcoming shows as well, so a little bit of a sneak peek of some of my upcoming defining albums that I'm planning. This is a great classic album by Elton John, of course. Also in that trip, I picked up Band on the Run by Paul McCartney and Wings. Classic. This should be featured pretty soon, I think. I'm kind of moving this one up a little bit. I have plans for this one, so you'll probably be hearing me talk about it pretty soon. And then the final one I picked up on that trip is, of course, a classic. This is Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Classic album. Just wanted to have this in my collection. Definitely just something everybody who loves music should have a copy of this. This is just the classic album. So, all right, from there I picked up the Chicago's second album, Chicago 2. This one I did a little bit of a Defining Albums feature for as well in May, and this is the Steven Wilson remakes of it from earlier. I'm not quite sure the year, but fantastic album by a fantastic band. one of my early defining albums features. So this is a really great album. Definitely glad to have it in the collection. Next, I've got a new album, which I did a review of. This is Frost's Day and Age. This was a great album this year, one of my favorites of the year. I really have been enjoying this one even more so. And this is a cool... It took me a while to get this, so I didn't have this to show off when I did my actual review. But I got a cool color version, so I kind of want to showcase the vinyl on this one. So it's this cool, like, light blue variant that I thought was really neat. So I had to pick that one up. I know it's probably a little bit... I don't know. Some people probably think it's weird to collect all these different color variants and so forth, but I find it a fun extension of the packaging to have a cool variant that kind of matches the cover. So just something I'm always looking out for. So to showcase the inner gatefold here, really pretty, great colors, an incredible album, and one that will feature highly on one of my favorites of the year. Next, we have another new album that I featured. This is one that's been kind of on my wall for a while. You'll notice all the ones on my wall are different. A lot of the ones I've been featuring are part of this vinyl haul collection, so I had to pull them off the wall. Some of them will return back to the wall for future videos, but this one has been up there for a while. This is Caliganaut and their album Magnified as Giants that I spotlighted. I believe I showed off this vinyl there. So this is a new album that I really loved from the year. Definitely recommend it highly, and please check out my review of that one. Next, another album I reviewed. This one kind of didn't get much attention because it's not really a prog record, more of an indie rock style. This is Manchester Orchestra and their album The Million Masks of God. Just an indie rock record that I really liked. I was aware of the band from their connection with the Deer Hunter. I believe the lead singer of this band is featured on some Deer Hunter tracks, at least on the Red EP from the Color Spectrum. So I thought it was one that would be worth checking out, and I ended up really liking it, so I picked up the vinyl of it. Next, I did a reissue show about these. This is SMPTE from Transatlantic, or Symmetry. This one is a really cool colored vinyl as well. I showed it off there so you could check it out on that other show. Just really pretty. I really loved the inside of the gatefold. It's a really great record. This is one of my favorites. Of course, I love Transatlantic, so to be able to get their albums on vinyl has been a real treat. And we'll get to another one later on in this video, but this has been really fun to revisit. And in the same show, I talked also about these two records, Cover to Cover, the first Cover to Cover by Morse, Portnoy, and George. This is a great covers album that they did way back when. And then, of course, they had to follow it up with a second covers album that I have here. And I also have the third covers album that I got way back when it came out, I believe, at some point last year. So now I have all three of those on vinyl. Different colors of vinyl as well, which you can see spotlighted if you check out the video of me talking about those in a prior video. So please check that out. This one, I don't think I had the vinyl when I did my album review. This is Sylvan's 1 to 0. I really like this album. I think it's really strong, and so I was glad to feature it on the channel. I think it's one that I haven't heard talked about much. Some people who like the band prefer some of their older stuff. I'm not sure this was like as well loved as some of their classics, but I think it was really strong, and I really respected this album a lot. Here's the inner, a lot of great stuff inside, some lyrics and artwork there. Great stuff. It's also, I believe it's a white or like a cream colored vinyl, so let me see that. Yeah, so a cream colored vinyl. I thought that worked really well with the cover and makes this a great package. So I really enjoyed that one. This is just kind of a random one I picked up because it went on sale on Amazon, and I love this record, so I thought I'd pick it up. This is Queen 2. I felt this was a good one to have in the collection. Really cool, kind of folds down and has the white picture of the band here. So really cool packaging. And definitely a classic Queen album. I've been listening to some Queen lately, so this was definitely a cool one. One of their more proggy records, I'd say. Early Queen is really cool. and I really love their first about 5 albums the most. So really great. Glad to have that here. Then I did another little record store visit when I went to Utah around 4th of July weekend. So I bought a couple records then that I will highlight. First I have Styx. I kind of wanted to get the new Styx album, which we'll get to in a minute. But they didn't have it in store at the time. So I settled for an older Styx classic, The Grand Illusion. I thought this would be fun to have, and I've been really into Styx lately. So this is a great pickup of Styx, The Grand Illusion, on vinyl. And then at the same record store visit, I got Supertramp and their classic album, Breakfast in America. I really love Supertramp, and this album's just a total classic, definitely worth owning in my collection. I want some of the other earlier Supertramp albums as well, like Crime of the Century, but haven't picked those up yet. But this is a good start to my Supertramp collection. I really love this album. It's a great blend of kind of that poppiness that they're known for, with a little bit of prog flavorings. Maybe not as much on this one, but definitely has a cool vibe. So I really love Supertramp. Also, at that visit, I picked up Rush, A Farewell to Kings, a classic Rush album. I had 2112 by Rush on vinyl, but I never had this one, so I felt like this is probably their prime proggy record, so I definitely had to have it. Definitely a great album, definitely strong and worthy of my collection as I'm trying to beef up my collection and get some more classic prog. You'll see some more classic prog albums to come, and so this is a really good one. And then as my final one from that Utah record store trip, I picked up The Crane Wife by the Decemberists, one of my favorite Decemberists albums. This one and Hazards of Love to me are like the prime albums by the Decemberists. I really love this one. It has some great proggy moments like On the Island, and it's a really classic album. I think I talked about it in one of those vinyl tag videos, but really cool. Like the inside, it's just a really cool packaging. I really love the album and kind of this throwback style that it has. So really cool, definitely worth owning in my collection. So I have this one on vinyl along with Hazards of Love. So really cool. So after that, we get into some more albums here that I featured on the channel. This is Gentle Giant and the album Freehand, which I definitely covered quite a bit. I got the vinyl as well as the CD, 5.1 Blu-ray makes. So I had to have all of the different versions of the Steven Wilson makes here. But I really love the vinyl. It's great to have this on vinyl. I'm nearing having all of my favorite Gentle Giant albums on vinyl now, so really exciting. They're one of my favorite all-time prog bands, so definitely happy to have this. I think this is one of their best albums, and I've been loving it even more than I used to in these past few weeks, so definitely had to have this in the collection. Moving on from there, a duo of albums that I've talked about a bit. This is the It Bites albums, The Tall Ships, which I did a whole retrospective of It Bites. This is like a cool red colored vinyl. Really love The Tall Ships. I featured these albums, but also the older albums from their older period in a cool little video of a retrospective. I think it was really well received, and I was really proud of it, so please check that one out if you haven't watched. If it's a band that maybe passed you by or something. This is their other one, Map of the Past. So these are kind of the two John Mitchell albums that I picked up because of the recent reissues onto vinyl, and I'm really glad I did. This one's like a clear vinyl, which I showcased in that other video, so those are really great. And then moving from there, I talked about Mars Volta. So this one I got on vinyl. This is Deloused in the Comatorium, which was my #1 ranked Mars Volta album. So check my album rankings. That kind of spoils it maybe a little bit, but you probably checked it out if you're interested in Mars Volta. I know a lot of people, it's kind of an acquired taste perhaps, kind of a different kind of band than other ones that I've covered, but I really appreciate their discography, so I felt like I should have my favorite album of theirs on vinyl, so I picked this one up, Deloused in the Comatorium. Really cool package. Sounds really great. I listened to this one This is a great part of the cover too. So really a great album, recommended. This to me is their strongest work, their very debut album. I think they really had a great direction here. So this is a great album. So now, quick intermission while I get the next stack of records. Sorry if I'm going through these a bit fast, but I just wanted this to be a reasonable length video, and I did talk a lot about these already, so I'm kind of hopefully pointing you in the direction of some of the album reviews I've done. Or if you've seen all those, this is just kind of a fun recap and a way to just compile all this information in one place, so just to kind of give a document. So we should be getting to some fun ones. Let me grab the other bits here. Alright, so next we have a newer album, and this is one I plan to talk about soon as part of a new music shuffle. This is Scale the Summit and their new album, Subjects. So this is a cool one. This is usually an instrumental prog band, instrumental progressive metal type style, but on this one they decided to add in a bunch of guest vocalists. So I thought that was a really cool idea. And so it adds a little bit of variety than what you usually would expect from them. So I think this is a really strong album, checking out the inner. And they had a lot of variations of the vinyl. They had a lot of different styles of the cover and different styles of the vinyl itself. And I'm going to show off a little bit of the inside here. So I thought it was just kind of a cool green splattered vinyl. And they had different variations in different colors. So I thought it was just a cool package all told. Maybe not my favorite album of the year necessarily, but I think it's fairly strong. It's a cool one if you like this style of progressive metal. All right, so this was an interesting kind of random pickup. This is a band I've heard a lot of great things about. I've heard kind of their hits and I've heard random songs here and there, but I don't know if I've ever really given like a full album a great listen. But I saw some attention towards this, so I got Muse, Origin of Symmetry. This is their remakes of 20th anniversary remakes. So I was very interested. It got great reviews, and I thought this would be a fun way to kind of explore Muse a bit more. I haven't listened to this quite yet, but I'm excited to, and I think the vinyl itself, it's in a cool package. I like the inside, kind of minimal with that white. But the vinyl itself, once again, it has cool color to it. So this one's a bit yellow, kind of that yellow style, but the other more orange style. So I thought that was cool that each LP kind of has its own shade there. One's more yellowish, this one's more orange. So cool packaging. Really like that. I'm excited to delve into Muse. They might be an upcoming defining album or something in the future. I'm not quite sure yet, but definitely excited to delve more into their sound. All right, so next I've got a couple of Frost albums. They re-released these Frost albums on vinyl, kind of a newer, updated version, and so I had to pick them up. I did a Frost albums ranking back in May, I believe, and of course I reviewed their newest album, Day and Age. So now I have all 4 of their studio albums on vinyl, so I'm pretty happy about that. This one is Million Town. This to me is their best album. I really love this. And this is kind of a new cover, new style to the packaging, but really nice, really enjoyable. I really am a big fan of this, and I think it sounds really excellent. They're a great band. Of course, I have to show off that it's a white vinyl inside, so thought that was cool. I always like that. And then I also have this one, which is Experiments in Mass Appeal, their second album. So definitely had to get both of these when I saw that they were coming out. Pretty much any time like one of my old favorite albums is coming on vinyl, it's an immediate pre-order purchase for me. So had to pick these up because I love these albums so much. And this one has like a silver tint to it. So definitely cool packaging, cool records. Really excited about these, and just excited to keep building my vinyl collection and being able to add these like classic albums for me. That early period of like the mid 2000s and so forth was when I was just really into music and figuring out about these new bands and really falling in love. So it's cool to get new versions of these classic albums that I always have loved. All right, so next we've got the Record Store Day. Happened not too long ago. It was, I believe, in early July at some point. And I didn't go to the record store. I felt a little intimidated because I knew there'd be crowds, and I wasn't sure there was enough of a pull there, enough releases that I was really that into. So instead of going to Record Store Day and going into stores, I decided to order online the one record that I was actually interested in for Record Store Day, and that is this one, Elias of Sunhillow by John Anderson. And I haven't quite been able to listen to this yet. I know there's some viewers who are interested in this because I have a lot of big Yes fans in my audience here. But I haven't really listened to this yet, but I'm excited to get into it. It's an album that I've heard great things about. I feel like I might have heard it back when I was first getting into Yes, like several years ago, but don't really remember it very well. But I'm excited to give this one a shot, and this is a cool... this is, of course, the newer edition because of Record Store Day, and it has, like, kind of this storybook feel with these different pages inside. So, really kind of a cool packaging that I'm really excited to delve into the story and to see what John Anderson has to offer here. I've always been interested in this as kind of a fantasy enthusiast as well. So, this is a cool one that I'm excited to get into when I have an opportunity. So, this is Elias of Sunhillow. And along with that one, I bought that at the same time as this other one because it was like a deal. If you get, so much, you can get free shipping or something like that. So this was one I kind of wanted to pick up, and that is Fleet Foxes, their first album. And it was a cool, like, kind of special variant of it, cool vinyl that I want to showcase. So I just thought this was really neat and kind of a cool... reflection of the cover, this cool like marbled style. I thought that was fun. I bought these from Newberry Comics, I believe. So it was cool to get these two at the same time, kind of in place of going to Record Store Day. And so it was a fun way to celebrate records in my own style. So next I have a new album that I've been talking a ton about, and I'm sure people are probably tired of me talking about it. I haven't been able to show off the vinyl yet, though, so this is for the new Big Train album, Common Ground, and I kind of wanted to showcase just the customer service aspect, because I got the album, and the packaging was pretty badly bent, and I was worried, like, oh man, it's going to come out all bent up and bad, and this is the old cover, is pretty bent, you can see up here in the corner, it got really crushed there because of the packaging. And I of course it's not the shop's fault that sent this, I'm sure it was just badly handled by the delivery service. But it was a bummer to see this, but I reached out and contacted Burning Shed about it, and they were super nice and able to replace it for me in a record time. I just got the new sleeve, and so I have this version, which is not all crushed like that. It's very beautiful, and I'm glad because this is one of my favorite albums of the year, and I love the cover. I love the inside. This is just really pretty artwork, well made, and just really gives a great atmosphere to the album. And of course inside you've got the booklet that I got, and I got the blue variant of the vinyl from Burning Shed. Really a great color, really fits the cover, really a beautiful record, and just one I had to have in vinyl. I love this band with all my heart. I'm just grateful to have... I have almost all their albums on vinyl. I don't have Folklore on vinyl, which is just really tough because that's one of my favorite records of theirs. I just totally love that record, and I just have not been able to find a reasonable price for it on vinyl, and I'm hoping they reissue it at some point because it's one of my favorite records. And now we're going to get into a little period here of my birthday albums that I got. And so this is kind of its own segment in a way. So my birthday was by the time this video comes out, my birthday is probably about 2 weeks ago from now. And I was really thankful to be able to do some cool record shopping on my birthday. But first, my wife got me a present. She got me a vinyl for my birthday. And so this is from Jana. She got me Pink Floyd's The Wall. She said because we talked about it on Jana Reacts, we did a reaction to Comfortably Numb. and she really liked that, and she heard me say in that video, I think, that I would really love to have it on vinyl, and so she took a mental note of that and then went out and got it for me for my birthday. So I'm super grateful for her, and grateful I've already listened to this album and it sounds excellent. I really love this album. It's great, and grateful to have it on vinyl. It's another must-have on vinyl, so thankful to Jana for giving me this for my birthday, and it's really an incredible present, so I'm grateful. So hope you guys like this record too, because it's a classic. All right, and then I went to Amoeba Records in LA, or Hollywood, I guess, now in their new location for my birthday, and decided to just do a total splurge. I just decided I was going to spend a lot of money and get a bunch of records because it was my birthday, and I haven't really done that too much. I guess this episode's an indication that I do spoil myself on vinyls too much, but this is an unusual period where I've bought way more than I usually would. So, but I decided for just one outing at a record store, this is more than I've bought in one go. So I decided to settle on 10 records to buy while I was there, and they're all new records. I don't really usually get used records. I kind of like to have the new records. So this is what I picked up. We'll see how you feel about my selections. There could be a couple of, ones that people may have different feelings about. But first of all, I picked up this All Things Must Pass, George Harrison. This is a new release, the 50th anniversary of a classic George Harrison album. And this has inspired me to possibly feature this in an upcoming video that I'm kind of getting excited for. But this is like a box set. I got it's the 3 LP version box set. There was even a bigger one, deluxe, 5 LP version, and even more so. There's tons of crazy versions of this, but I went for the 3 LP version. Really excited to delve deep into this. I haven't really listened too heavy into this album, but I hear it's like one of the best Beatles solo album, and it's kind of a masterpiece. So really excited, and I've gotten to the hype since this is kind of a new release and people have been excited about it. So really excited to give this a listen. This was, of course, the most expensive thing I got, but I hope it's well worth it because I'm really excited to delve into it. Next, I got one, probably not one that people will be too familiar with. Well, this is one that probably isn't very much like the rest, I'll say. This is Billie Eilish's new record, Happier Than Ever. I really like Billie Eilish. I think she's an incredible rising star in pop music. I really liked her previous album, which got a lot of attention, won a lot of the Grammy Awards that year. And I was really interested to hear her new record, and I've heard bits of it, and I really like what she's doing here. She has a great style. I like her and her brother Phineas are just really good together. Record really sounds good and has some great songs on it, so just wanted to pick that one up while I was there, and since this was kind of a new release, I thought it would be worth picking up and checking out. So Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish. I picked up a couple of ones that I plan to feature like in my Defining Albums list, so this is kind of a teaser maybe for some of the upcoming shows. This is Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO's, Out of the Blue. I really love ELO. I think they're incredible, great rock band with kind of this almost Beatles-esque pop style to them. So this is kind of their classic album here, and one I definitely want to feature in my Defining Albums list when it comes up. And so I'm excited to delve deeper into ELO when I get to that point. And along similar lines, I have Fleetwood Mac Rumors, just a classic album that I feel is kind of an essential piece to a good record collection. So it's been one on my radar for a while, and I just decided to pick this one up while I was there. And it's another one that I'm sure will be part of my Defining Albums features. Really excited to listen to this more because I've listened to it in the past couple months, and I really think it's an excellent record and very consistent. Every track is a hit and really strong. So, and along similar lines again, this is Billy Joel. I have here The Stranger. This is a classic Billy Joel album. To me, one of his best. It just, every track, it's almost like a greatest hits collection. Every track is a big hit, And I really like Billy Joel's, singer-songwriter style. I think he's really a great artist, and his 70s records are really strong. So definitely wanted to add that to the collection. And then more in the prog realm, we've got, of course, the classic In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. I just feel like any prog record collector's got to have this at some point, and so I'm happy to add it in. So really cool. Picked this one up. Felt like it just was a necessary piece to my collection. I've said probably in prior videos that I'm not a huge King Crimson fan, but I appreciate this one's place in progressive rock history, and it's one of the albums that I do actually really appreciate by the band, so I think this is well done, and glad to have it. Another classic of the genre that I have to have, and I believe this is the Steven Wilson makes, this is Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull, something I felt just definitely had to have. I couldn't go without this one, and this is a cool thing here. It has this like big thick booklet with all the newspaper stuff in it, and just one of my favorite albums of all time. An essential purchase. When I saw they had it available, it was just a no-brainer pick, and I'm excited to re-listen and revisit this one. Just a total classic. I picked up the first Kansas record. This is their debut, self-titled, and really excited to delve into this one. I love Kansas. I think they're an incredible band. I already have Left Overture and Point of No Return, but I like all of their early albums, so I want to collect all of them on vinyl eventually. So when I saw they had the debut, I thought it would be a good time to pick it up. And I even noticed later that it's has a color vinyl. I didn't expect that, but it's kind of this cool marbled, vinyl as well inside. So I thought that was cool that it has that touch to it. So it's a cool package. All right, so the next one, maybe this is a bit embarrassing. I don't know. I ended up picking up the wrong thing, but I think it's still cool. I did a feature on The Who and Who's Next not too long ago. And as part of listening to all the Who albums and stuff, the one that really stood out to me as one of their best albums was Quadrophenia. I really loved listening to that album, so I wanted to pick up Quadrophenia. So I picked this up, which ended up not really being Quadrophenia, but the soundtrack to the movie Quadrophenia. So it has a lot of the tracks from Quadrophenia, of course, but it's not the complete Quadrophenia album, and it also has several tracks from the time period that the movie's in, some 60s kind of style songs. So I'm interested to listen to this. I think it's cool, but not exactly what I intended. I thought I was just picking up Quadrophenia, the album, so shows a little bit of my lack of knowledge when it comes to the Who albums and the Who album covers and so forth, that I picked up the wrong version. But still excited and still glad to add this to my collection. I think it's still going to be fun to listen through, and really excited to delve in, because I've liked the Who lately and have really enjoyed featuring them on the channel. And then kind of the last album that I picked up in this big Amoeba Records haul was Animals by Pink Floyd. My wife got me The Wall. I decided to pick up Animals as kind of the next one that I felt was worthy. So this is a great classic Pink Floyd album. So I feel like, I've showcased 3 Pink Floyd albums throughout this show here. I got Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Animals. Now I just need Wish You Were Here, and I have kind of that classic 4-album period that is really my favorite. I don't know too much outside of those albums, but I totally love and adore those albums. So definitely will add Wish You Were Here to my collection at some point, I'm sure. And then I will be pretty happy with my Pink Floyd collection. All right, and so a couple final ones here. My sister got me a couple vinyls for my birthday, got me a couple records, and so I wanted to show those. Of course, this was one on my list that I wanted deeply. The new Styx album, Crash of the Crown, she picked up for me. Really love this album. I think it's a fantastic album this year. It's the band in great form, and really highly suggest this one and checking out my video on the album. Just really great sounds. Sounds like their classic 70s period with some modern production, and they just sound great for an older band. It's really amazing how vibrant they sound on this record. So definitely happy to have this in the collection. One of my favorite albums of the year so far. And so definitely thankful for my sister for that one. And also she picked up for me this one, Pain of Salvation 12/5. Another one I had on my list that I was not sure if I would get or not. Pain of Salvation have been kind of a band that I've had a mixed relationship with. I like the band, but I sometimes I'm not as big a fan when they get into their heavier style. And they've had variable quality. I've kind of shied away from progressive metal a little bit more recently. But this one I really loved on first listen. It's like an acoustic concert where they kind of rework a lot of their classic early material into this acoustic setting. And I always found that fascinating, that instead of just doing your typical live album, they made a new album that has different arrangements of these songs, sometimes wildly different than the album versions. So really always loved that and definitely wanted it in my collection. So grateful again to my sister for getting me records that I really love. So I'm really thankful. And then the final one that I just barely received this week is the new Transatlantic, Bridge Across Forever. Not new Transatlantic, but their classic album. This is my favorite album of all time. That's what I always say. I think it's a perfect prog album. I really love it. Just all the tracks are amazing. It has a lot of great epic tracks that are just classics of the genre to me at this point. And so super thrilled to have the album on vinyl and really excited to spin this one. And it also comes in a cool light blue translucent variant, which I just thought was beautiful when I pulled this out and checked it out. So definitely a big fan of this variant, of the packaging, of everything about it. It's a beautiful record, and there you go. Those are the records I got in the last about 4 months, from about May to August. So really been a big period of time for me. Usually I don't get this many records. This is kind of unusual, but I just have been celebrating music a lot lately as I've been doing this channel. Been really excited about music and the response I've been getting, and other people who are just as excited about music as me commenting and giving me a lot of support in various ways. So just really grateful for this channel that has really reignited my love of music. Hopefully you like a lot of these selections. I think a lot of them are pretty much things that my audience would really love. A lot of classic prog and some newer prog. A good variety of things, I think. So sorry for the length of the video. This was a lot to showcase. And sorry for the speed in which I tried to go through each one, but I didn't want the video to be so crazy long. But grateful for all of your support, grateful for this music and how meaningful it is to me, grateful for everything, really. Grateful for my family, for what they did for me for my birthday. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like what I do here, please subscribe. Please join this music family that I'm hopefully kind of building here. And I just am so happy right now. Happy with music, happy to enjoy all of this. I have a lot of listening to get to. I need to make some kind of list or something of like every vinyl that I need to hear, because I've gotten so much, but a lot of these I just haven't had time to even listen to yet. So got to get to that. So as always, please everybody enjoy the music, and thank you so much for everything you do. Bye.